Hello everyone to Tech Safari and welcome to the Coding Safari Swift for an iOS 12. So now let's try to connect the storyboard to the Swift code. So connecting that is very simple in Swift. We just click on the control button and just drag that object onto the Swift code. I'll just drag it there. Yeah, that's a good place. Yeah. And so here it's going to come as an outlet. It's just nothing but we're going to say, okay, this variable is linked to this variable name or object name is linked to that particular uh, text label. So now let's just give it a name, result label. Yeah. So now from next time, if you wanted to refer to this label, then we could just use this object name, that is result label, in our code. The remaining settings we're just going to leave it as default. We're not much interested about that. And here we have a variable that is result label, which is of a type UI label, and it's an IB outlet because we are using the interference builder, and it's an outlet from that. We're getting this label from that interface builder, and it's a very weak variable. We'll get to know about later. And uh, we're not much interested about that tag, and it's of a type result label, and it's from the type UI label. So if you wanted to get any data or set any attributes to this result label from the code, we could do it programmatically using this variable result label. So in a similar way, I'm going to drag a button as well, but for a button we want something code to happen when we pressed on that. So we need to change it to an action instead of an outlet. If you want an outlet, then a better example if would be if you want to change the label of that button or something like that. So let's give it a name, say button 1 pressed for the function that is going to be run when that particular button is pressed. We're going to select IB button here, as it's going to come from an IB button, and touch up inside is the usual touch that we give on a button. Yeah, that's all. That's going to be the settings that we're going to give for this function. And you can see we have an IB action this time because it's going to perform some particular action when the button was pressed, and we have it as a function pressed 1, and it's from a sender, that is a button is going to send this function. So any code that we give inside this function is going to be run when I press that one button. As you can see, it's linked up to that button over there. So yeah, similarly we'll copy and paste the same function for all the buttons here, as that's going to be very easy. But what we're going to do is we're just going to remove that one and going to give this button as a linkage to that. Wait, I'll just remove that, and yeah, this is the way in which we can connect buttons to their variables. And yeah, all my buttons are set and are connected to the UI element. Now let's even set up these image views same way, just by control and drag. Oops, okay, yeah, so for an image we don't have an action class. You could just do any formatting with the image. I'm just going to change this into a button. So this button is going to have a background as this. So let's just me quickly set up this. So yeah, now let me just drag in these buttons as an action, and say the first one is going to be add numbers, the next one is going to be subtract numbers, and so on. I'm just going to get my functions onto my Swift code here. Okay, as an action, and multiply numbers, yeah. And here I forgot and I gave this as an IB outlet, so I need to first delete that for this subtract numbers. So just right click on the UI element and oops, yeah, and just I click on the into button next to that outlet. Just, and that will remove the connection. Yeah. Now I can just delete this variable because it's not connected to anything. If we did not do that process, then it would give us an error during the build. So now this would be subtract numbers. And later for divide numbers and equal to as well. And this also as an action, yeah. Now let's start writing code for Swift functions. So, hmm, so for that, first off, um, we'll define some variables up there. Uh, Not here. We'll define it up there so that you can access it throughout this whole class. Those are called global variables. We'll come to know about global variables later. So say var number 1 equal to say starting 0, and variable 2 will be equals to number 2, and that also be equal to 0. So yeah, now we would also um, so now we can set our variables according to the button pressed. So when the button 1 is pressed, we'll say number 1 equals to 1, and in the similar way for all the other buttons as well. So yeah, let me just write the code for that. When button 2 is pressed, it's going to take number 1 equals to 2, 3 to 3, 4 means 4, and yeah, I'm just going to remove that 0 button as it's going to become difficult and complicated if we have that 0 button there. So let me just rechange the layout here again. Yeah, yeah, that looks perfect. Now in a similar way, I'm just going to do for all the other buttons. Number 1 is equals to 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Oops, it should be 2. And it's going to copy paste the statement, change it to the respective value. So yeah, now we have our first number setup. Now we need to check what button was pressed here so that we could do the appropriate calculation. And so for that, I'm gonna define another variable up here. Say var function yeah, function to apply here or perform, yeah, to be performed application that is to be performed. And so now we're going to just check if this if you click on the add button, we're going to set that value to be 1. Okay, so subtraction means 2, multiplication means 3, division means 4. So now that we have okay, this is equals to 4, so that now we have what operator that we need to perform. Now let's just check. So to see when do we need to take the second number and first number, we'll just say if we had a particular function that was selected, then we'll set this as number 1, or if it was there, then we're going to set it to number 2 equals 1, and in similar way I'm going to do it for all the numbers. So if a button, if any one of these plus minus multiplied buttons was pressed, then it would take the button next button pressed to be as number 2, or else it would be taken as number 1. So yeah, here I have all my variables set, and so now I have my variable 1 and variable 2. So now what I need to do is, in the equal to statement, I'm just going to check um, what function that I need to proceed with these numbers. So if function to be performed equals to 1, then I'm going to add them. That is number 1 plus number 2, and if it is 2, then I need to subtract them using the I could check this condition using the if and else if statements. And here it will be multiplied, number 1 multiplied by number 2, and I'll just give another and divides. Yeah, so here I have my else if statements, and then finally what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print my oh yeah, I needed to remove these spaces. I'm just going to print my second number. Just going to define this number 3 outside. Let me remove these let commands. I'm going to change it as var. Yeah, var looks better, or it's going to give me an error that number 3 is a constant. Now we have the number 3 value. I'm just going to print that to the log space presently, so that we can check is our app working. Oh yeah, there I needed to give a double equal to sign instead of single equal to sign. So let me go and just first change that. Yeah, double equals to double equals to double equals to double equals to. Yeah, so first we'll just check if our app is working. If it's working, then we'll go and set this value as a text to our label there. So let's run the app. And we'll wait for the simulator to boot up. So here we have our app up and running. Let's just test it. Yeah, so say I give it the values 1. Yeah, the UI looks good presently, so let's just give it 1 plus 2. Yeah, and we'll see what's that equals to, and it's giving me a value of 3. 1 yeah, 1 plus no, we'll go for minus 2, and that should return me a value of minus 1, as 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Now 3 times 9, that should give me 27. Okay, wait, I think there's some small error here. So wait, just let me fix this here. Sure, I think it's just the old number has been still fixed. Oh yeah, here the main reason why it was giving me this error is every time I had to do this, I needed to change this value. I needed to again set it to be function to be performed as 0, number 1 equals to 0, and number 2 equals to 0, or else the old numbers would be still constant. Now let's try running this app. Most probably this time it must work. So we'll give 1 plus 2 again, and that should return 3. And now 1 minus 3, it should give me minus 2, yeah. Now 3 times 9, that should give me 27, yeah, we got 27 here. Yahoo! And 8 divides 2, yeah, give me 4, because 2 divides 8 4 times. So yeah, that's much of it. The app's working. Now we can, instead of printing this value to the logs, I can just set it to this result label here that I have. So now let's see how do we do that. So I'll just remove this line of code here, and I'll take a result label dot, and we have a bunch of options that we can perform on this label. The main one interested here we are is text equals to, so we'll need to set this value. So we'll open the apostrophes and the slash, and in the brackets we'll give a number 3, and that should display as the value. Yeah. And yeah, first we need to change the color of that label from green to white, or else it won't be displayed. And now let's run the app. Now it should display the answer in that label there in nice and white color. So let's try it out. 1 plus 2. No, okay, yeah, this probably, yeah, we have 3. Next we say 1 plus 5, and that would be yeah, just let me, yeah, let me just press it properly, and we have 6. 1 plus 5 is 6. So yeah, which means our app is up and working well. We'll just test one more. 8 plus 8, that would be 16. So yeah, now our app is working well. So yeah, now we have made a sample and a basic calculator app. So woohoo, we made our first app. In the next video, we'll get to know about how to auto layout that it can be used for any device. See you in the next video.